going to be talking about part 3 of how to start your own online store. Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you are in need of a website, a domain, or even an online store, head over to squarespace.com and start your free trial today. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about taking photos of your products, editing them, pricing them, and promoting them online. This kind of also applies to how to build your audience, like on Instagram. I'm specifically going to be targeting Instagram for promoting, but if you have any other social media platform that you would rather use, these rules might actually apply towards that as well. But I am most comfortable with Instagram, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. So let's get started. First, I'm talking about taking photos. This is a really important part of opening your online store. Your photos are going to be what sells your product. Since your shop is online, you're not there to talk about your products. You do have a description probably for your products, but most people are going to be looking at the photos first, and sometimes that's all they're looking at. So you want to make sure you take really good photos. The biggest rule for taking photos on social media and for product photos is that you want to use daylight lighting. You don't want to take photos at night when you're using your house lights and everything's yellow and kind of dark. Wait till the daytime. You don't want direct sunlight, but just like right here where I have a window that's shining in, but it's lighting up the whole room. You just want that kind of ambient light. And you want that light because it's like the purest light. It has the correct coloring and values that it's supposed to have. Any other light has some kind of color shift or tint to it. And you could use those as well and kind of edit them in Photoshop, but if you want to make your job easier, just wait till the daytime. So take photos during the daytime. Use daylight. If you need any extra lights, use some fill lights for filling in light. I'm using it right now in my video. I have some really big studio lights, but they ended up being too big for what I do for filming on my desk. So I got these smaller ones. They're actually really good. They're very sturdy. I switched the light bulbs out to daylight bulbs by Philips. You can find them at Home Depot or any hardware supply store. I'll put links to all these products in the description so you can get them yourself. One thing you also want to pay attention to when taking photos is your background. I spend a lot of time curating the background for my photos, especially for my products. I like to go to stationery stores like Paper Source where they have decorative paper, and I like to buy the really subtle designs that kind of go with my artwork but aren't going to distract the eye. I also really like using natural backgrounds like wood, a piece of plywood from the hardware supply store. If you really want to get creative, sometimes you can use your studio space as your background. I know a lot of people that like to hold their prints up in front of them or above them and kind of take a shot with all of the workspace in the background. They'll hold their print up in front of them to show size or up above them to kind of show the background of the studio. Now this is only going to work if your studio is really light and white and not too distracting. Like if you have a bright color in the background or something, it might be kind of weird, but you can try it. I mean, use your best judgment pretty much. But just to be safe, I would just stick to lighter backgrounds or paper or wood or something. You can also decorate your photos with props and things. There's a lot of artists like to do this. It's actually really fun. You usually want to relate your decorations to the subject matter of the photo or the print. So say your print has a lot of plants in it, or your artwork has a lot of plants in it. You can get some vines or leaves or even some fake flowers or something from Michael's and place them around your drawing. Now again, you want to make sure the composition's good and they're not too distracting. I can't help you much with this. This is kind of like a practice kind of thing, so use your best judgment. Maybe ask your friends if it looks okay or what they prefer to look at. The best thing to do would be to go to your favorite artists' websites or their online shops and see what they do, what kind of photos they take, what they put in the backgrounds. Don't copy them, because I know a lot of artists spend a lot of time on that, and it does suck when people kind of copy what you do, but just take note of how they're doing it and do your own thing. Add your own items or your own background kind of thing, but look at their composition of the photo. Now, there's a lot of different angles you could do. Usually I like to add at least 2 photos of each product. One from straight above and one detail shot at an extreme angle, kind of showing like the texture or the size of the piece. In order to take photos from above, you can either get up on a ladder and take photos from far away, or kind of just hold your arms over, take the photo and edit it on Photoshop. You're gonna end up editing most of these photos anyway, so just do your best and get it as straight as possible. Another trick with taking photos is to take them from further away and zoom in instead of taking them up close. When you take a photo up close, the camera lens kind of distorts the angle and you won't get a straight on photo. Everything will be kind of a little curved. It's kind of weird to explain, but it's better to take photos from far away and zoom into your picture so that the angles aren't too crazy. But if you want to know more about that, it's actually a really cool photography thing. Look up like focal length, and there's so many GIFs of people walking in and out and zooming into an object. It's really cool. Okay, so now that you have a whole bunch of photos taken, by the way, I would take at least 3 or 4 photos of each product, of each angle at least, because some of your photos are going to be blurry and you need to pick like the best one out of each. You need to take a lot of photos for this. And when it comes to cameras and stuff, I just use my phone. It's really the most convenient thing. You do want to make sure you have an upgraded phone. So I have an iPhone 7 Plus, and I choose my phones for their camera because I use the camera so much, but if you have a good digital camera, you can use that as well. If you have good lighting, it doesn't matter what camera you have. The better the lighting, the better the quality of the photo. You don't have to go out and buy like a giant expensive digital SLR when you could just use your phone and make sure that there's a good amount of daylight. Okay, part 2 is now to edit your photos. You should have a whole bunch of photos taken. You're gonna bring them onto your computer and you should have some type of photo editing software. I mostly use Photoshop. It's the most convenient thing for me. If you don't have it and you want to try it out, I know they have free 30-day trials for Creative Cloud. There's also, I think, Adobe Photoshop Elements is a free version that they like to give to you with like Wacom tablets and stuff. If you have that, that's fine. It just might be a little bit different than what I'm saying. If you have your own photo editing software, it's probably going to be the same thing. You just need to look for the same menu options as I'm saying. But when I'm editing my photos, I mostly just use 3 or 4 options, and that is levels, saturation, color balance, and sharpness. So when I go to levels, you go to image adjustments and levels. This tool helps you control the contrast of your image. Each triangle represents the lights, the midtones, and the darks of your artwork, and you can edit them. Say your camera kind of blew out all the shadows in your picture, you can darken those shadows, or if the whites aren't as white as you'd like them to be, you could raise those up a little bit too. You don't want to change it too much because your picture could become blown out or too dark. So adjust it very lightly and then hit OK. The next option I like to play with is the saturation. So you go to adjustments and hue saturation. Now I like to play with this because my artwork is pretty bright and colorful, and I like to make sure that that shows in my pictures, but you can use it to edit your background as well. Say your piece of wood background is too saturated compared to your black and white artwork, you can also desaturate that. So play with this a little bit. Don't go too heavy. If it's too saturated, it's gonna be crazy, ridiculous looking. That might be something that's important to your photos. The next thing I use is color balance. This is when I need to edit the lighting in the photo. Say I had to take pictures at night and I use some other lights, or maybe there's an object in the photo that's a little too yellow or it's reflecting all the light. You can edit that here. So usually the only thing I do is I go to highlights and then I edit the top and bottom to cyan and blue to balance out the yellows in the lighting. So if you have yellow lights, this is what you do to fix it. Another option for this, if you really can't get your paper color to be white in the photo, you can go to replace color and click on the white areas and then change that to white. This is only going to work if it's almost white or just slightly off white and the rest of your picture looks fine. I'm not going to explain it all here, so if you want to look up how to use replace color for whites, go ahead and Google that. Alright, and the last tool that I like to use on Photoshop, if say I didn't get the sharpest photo, maybe it was slightly blurry but close enough, I would go to filter, sharpen, and smart sharpen, and there I would play with the edges and it brings out the textures and edges in your photo. So this is a good fix if your photos are a little bit blurry or not as clear as you'd like them to be. It'll help out a little, but it's not gonna change everything. So now that your photos are all uploaded online and you are creating products in whatever platform you chose to create your online store on, you're gonna have to determine your pricing. Now, this is a really tough thing to do. I get so many questions from people on how to choose the right price and how do you know people are gonna buy it, stuff like that. You don't know, and the safest thing you could do is just determine what your price is based on your costs or your expenses, and then as you grow as a business, as you start getting more sales, you can adjust to what you think would be correct. The first thing to do to set your pricing is determine your cost. Whatever product you're doing, say it's a print, you need to calculate how much it costs you to make that print, whether you ordered it from a print shop or you printed it yourself. And that includes ink, paper, cost of printer. You also need to determine the packaging prices. So say the bag you put it in, the flat mailer envelope that you put it in, and any other free goodies that come along, any other items that you add to the order. Each of those should only be like a couple cents because you're dividing it by a whole bunch of products. So your cost should only be a small amount, and you just want to make sure you're making that money back. Otherwise, you're not making any money. Another really good thing would be to look at your peers, other artists that you think, in your opinion, are like the same, I guess, skill level or even level business-wise as you are. Check out their shop and see how much they're putting their prices for, how much they're charging for a certain size of a print or even an original, and keep note of that. You could price yours around the same depending on the quality of your products. Now, that's the last thing. The quality of your products is a very big determination of how much you charge. So I was talking about this again in the first video of this series, but say you're making prints, you're not going to charge the same amount for a LaserJet print from Office Depot, like a 5x7 one, as you would for a professionally printed 5x7 Jacquelin print, which is like a fancy name for those crazy inkjet printers with like a lot of different types of ink. So you want to make sure that your price reflects the quality of your paper and the quality of your prints. It's okay to go to Office Depot and get your prints made there. You just need to know that LaserJet prints are very inexpensive. You can probably tell by how much it costs you to make them. And you don't want to overcharge anyone for prints that could be made anywhere. When I was first starting out, I would do LaserJet prints when I was still in art school, and I would charge maybe like $3 to $5. Depending on the size. But that's just what happens when you're first starting out. Eventually you upgrade your equipment, you upgrade your products, and you can charge more for that. You'll learn as you go along, so don't worry about it. Another thing you can do as research is buy artwork from other artists. All your favorite artists, just buy a couple of prints from them and take note on how much they charge and the quality of the print that they're sending you. All of the freebies that come with it, how they package it, everything. And you can kind of compare. Obviously, if it's a more popular illustrator, they're going to charge more, but you can feel the quality and be like, oh, this is what I want to have someday, and you can work up to that. That's what I did for a long time, so none of this is really permanent, so don't worry about it. Now, the last section of today's video is promoting your shop. This is a big important thing to do. If you have an online shop and nobody sees it or knows about it, you're not going to get any sales. So this is just as important as opening the online store, is promoting your products. Now, you really need to be, if you're an artist and you're actually trying to make money on your own, working for yourself, you need to have multiple social media accounts where art is a very active community there. So Instagram is still my #1 place to post. I post on there and everything gets posted everywhere else from Instagram. Twitter has also got a really good art community, which is surprising because it's like mostly just talking. I haven't been on DeviantArt in years, but they were always a pretty good community. I'm not sure how it is now, but if you're still using it, then go ahead and promote there. Tumblr is also a good place because it's very image-based, just like Instagram. Facebook might be okay. I've never had that much luck from Facebook, but it's good to have one anyway. So in order to build your audience on any social media platform, I'm specifically going to be talking about Instagram. You want to post frequently. That's the #1 rule. Post every day, at least once a day, maybe twice a day. Don't post too crazy. You don't need to post like 10 a day, but at least once a day. You want to make sure that the photos you're posting are good quality, just like your product photos. So when you're drawing and you're taking a picture of your artwork, try to let some sun in and use daylight lighting. If you don't have that, just add a whole bunch of lights in and make sure there's no harsh shadows. You want as much white in your images as you can get in order to invite people in. Instagram actually has a pretty good photo editing software within the posting, but you can also use other apps like Visco, and I think Photoshop even has an app on the phone. But I just use Instagram to edit my photos. Instagram is also becoming very video based, so as long as you're posting every day, you also want to post some videos once in a while. Videos get promoted more in the Explore feed and people are more likely to see your work that way. So same goes for videos. You want white light, good lighting, and bright colors and everything. You'll learn more of this as you go along. You'll see how it works. But when it comes to promoting your online store, you need to frequently release products. At least once a month, you should have a new store update with new products. That keeps people interested, it keeps people coming back to your store and buying more. You can also have sales in your store. So say you're getting a lot of new products in soon and you kind of want to get rid of some old stuff, you can have a sale. Do like 20% off for a week or a weekend or something, or even one day only. This is always a good way of getting people to buy your stuff. If you're posting artwork on Instagram, that's really good, but you also want to post product photos. Another cool way of promoting your shop is to give away freebies in your orders. So I like to give away a postcard, a business card, and sometimes a sticker. These are all things that you don't have to do, but people really love the extra goodies in their orders. So I usually order these kind of things from cheaper websites like Vistaprint or something. Other ways of getting people to go to your shop or even go to your Instagram are to host giveaways. You can do art trades or even product trades. See if you could trade with someone with more followers than you. That's always a good way of getting your artwork out there. You want to make sure you're using the correct hashtags for your posts. There's a lot of popular ones on Instagram like artists on Instagram, Insta art. I use illustration and whatever the artwork is, so like a watercolor painting or a digital painting, stuff like that. Explore Instagram and see what other hashtags people are using and see if you can use those ones. Those are really the best tricks I can give you for promoting your stuff on Instagram. These are all the things that I do and have always done since I started. So it does work. The more committed you are, the better it's going to work out. And once you start posting more and seeing people's reactions to it, you can kind of grow and learn from that and see what people like, what people don't like, and kind of work around that. Anyway, I hope that helped you guys out. And really quick, I'm going to talk about Squarespace since this video is sponsored by them. If you don't know what Squarespace is, it is an online platform for creating your own website with your own domain or even an online store. So far, it's the most beautiful and easiest online store creating platform I've ever used. I've used so many different ones too, and this is the one I've been sticking with for the last few years. They have really beautiful templates for any kind of website. If you are looking for a portfolio, an event page, a personal web page, anything like that, somewhere to put your resume, Squarespace can do all of it. And they have so many templates that are already amazing looking, and you just kind of plug your information in, put your photos in, you can edit it easily. You don't have to know anything special about editing or HTML. And it looks amazing right away. They have really good customer service too, so you can ask them any questions you want. It's definitely my favorite website creating platform. So if you want to try out Squarespace, you can head over to squarespace.com and start your free trial today. You can build a website, just play around with their templates, and if you like it, you can use my code at squarespace.com/Jacquelin and get 10% off your first purchase. A couple years ago when I heard about Squarespace, I started a free trial, built a website in like an hour, and immediately subscribed because it was amazing and way better than any other website I've ever built on any other platform. So if you're still looking to make a website, go ahead and check out Squarespace. Okay, so that is it for part 3 of how to start your own online store. I hope this helped you out in taking photos and getting ready to promote your online store. The next video is going to be about shipping costs, and everything after you get orders. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!